Is it? Hey, friends-in-law. Peace to
Hello,
y'all.
Seven.
Hey, what's up with you? I'm saying, hey guys, today's date is the 11th, November 2025. We're here for our newbie friends-in-law, newbie Tuesday, right? Also known as Bible study, right? For those early community members, right? Remember it like that. But here on Newbie Tuesday, we like to, get you guys to get out your newbie questions. However, I think also there has been a bit of a leave granted by Malika for there to be at times advanced things to come across the floor if needed. But the main foundation is, newbie questions, newbie Tuesday, basic concept correction for just comprehension overall, right? To inspire you guys to believe nothing we say. However, go and research it for yourself so it becomes your own, your very own, so that you'll know how to wield your own sword. Or, well, words actually. Wield your own words, even though it's the same word as sword, right? Just with the S transposed. With that being said, who's got their hand up? Who's ready to ask a newbie question here? Any hands up? Well, looks like Josette's the first one. What's on your
Hey
mind,
y'all.
Hey, hey.
So I had a package delivered and the delivery driver stole my package. So I'm
Was
wondering
it
what I should do
UPS?
next. No, it was on track. The
I'm sorry,
guy,
say that
it
again.
was really on track. They're not, I don't know if they're everywhere, but the guy, I got video footage and a picture of him. And so he definitely took it.
Did
And
you did
so
you speak with OnTrack first?
not yet. It just happened yesterday.
Oh,
So now I did contact and see it gets mailed to an offsite because I'm in a undisclosed location to the post office. So I get all my mail somewhere else. And that, that business has cameras. And so I have the proof.
good.
So
You know
my
what would
next
be a
step,
really great newbie exercise for you too, Josette, not to cut your wisdom, just to add to your wisdom. What would be a really good newbie Tuesday exercise as you're verbally telling us here? It would also be a great newbie Tuesday homework for you, since you have presented that, to go and write it down so that you'll make sure that you're all ready and no, real, I guess in the most brief sequential order as possible, but to get those thoughts down on paper, so that will be the foundation for your statements of facts that will be in alignment with the evidence that you say that you have. And yeah, I think that's really good. Anybody want to add to that? Is there a better way
I
that Josette could
already
better her
did.
evidence?
I did do that. I took a screenshot of the one picture and then I wrote my notes in that. But I'm thinking a notice and claim of damages to the company. But I was also wondering if since this guy stole my package, steals my identity, do you think that's viable to put in there? My identity has now been stolen.
What state is it?
This is Tennessee.
Okay, so I know near Maryland. Maryland has, I think it's, ah man, if I'm off, under their courts and judicial proceedings, and I'm hoping there's something equivalent in Tennessee. So don't think I'm ignoring what you're saying. I'm just trying to get it out for our friends in Maryland that may deal with the same thing. I think in courts and judicial proceedings, it is Title 3, I think, subtitle 13, and that deals with shoplifting. And what you
Okay.
simply have there is a cause of action for shoplifting. So find out what the special, either it's cause of action or special actions for Tennessee. See what shoplifting is. See if you can fit, again, not just the screenshot in the videos you may have, but pen to paper, right? So that you can be able to see if the elements of shoplifting for the state of Tennessee. Well, Tennessee Commonwealth. No, Kentucky is a Commonwealth. So for the state of Tennessee, right?
It's just the
Um,
state of Tennessee. Yeah.
okay. So for Tennessee, find out what the shoplifting cause of action is and how and what your what you can do, right? It's a cause of action. It's going to let you know what the elements have to be. Because I think for Maryland, shoplifting is and this is just basic stuff. Shoplifting or employee theft is, if you take something and you don't intend to pay for it, right? You tend to basically not pay the merchant
Employee theft.
right? Yeah, that's what they call
Employee
it
theft.
now. Yep, that's it too. Employee theft. It's all under the same thing. Shoplifting and employee theft is under the same subtitle in Maryland. So I'm hoping you can find the same equivalent in Tennessee. And if you need to schedule a coaching session with any one of our Amicus members, then do so. So you could probably get that facilitated a little faster for you. But what I told you specifically is the answer to your question. And it's odd. It's just amazing how spirit works. Because I literally just got finished reading about shoplifting and employee theft, and that's your question.
And what about identity theft? Because does have my personal information now.
Majoring in the minors is not what I'm going to promote here in class. However,
Okay.
I think that's another thing you test.
Okay.
If you look at, if I remember, was the identity theft thing 14039 for IRS? If that's one thing, but I'm not saying go that route, but that may be a part of it. But look that
Is the question about if to add identity theft
as a cause
to
of
a
action.
tort claim
Yeah, because he has
or
my
to
personal
add
information.
shoplifting into a tort claim, or is the charge shoplifting?
I would
Well,
just go with the
he stole
shoplifting.
my package, so and my personal information is on that package.
Identity
Okay,
theft is when somebody takes your identity and uses it for to get to obtain other products or services, so goods or services. So if it wasn't you, just because he took it and your information was on there, that doesn't qualify as identity theft. And it's
Correct.
not
Okay,
shoplifting; it's theft of property
that's the property.
Ah,
and employee theft. But that would be for the company on track. That's what they would be charging. But for you or someone in similar circumstances, that would be theft of property.
ah,
Okay. Oh, I
excelente.
appreciate it. So the employee one would be the company. I wouldn't even deal with that, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, thank you. I
But
appreciate that.
the best thing to do is to call the company and see what their policies are or procedures on how to deal with a situation like that. And then they will tell you better as to at least how you deal with it with them. But as with anybody else, whether it's a courier or anyone else, anyone steals your property, that's theft.
I've had problems with this company before, and you can't get a hold of anybody on the phone. I called their fax number to see if it's live. It's dead. All their phone numbers are bogus. Not bogus,
Well,
but you can't get a hold of anybody.
they should have every company is required to give a resident a what's it called
Registered agent information.
a registered agent for service or process, right? So when they receive legal process, there's a company that has to be on file with the Secretary of State for service of any legal process. So that would definitely be a way you can get a hold of them, but that'd probably be slower because that's usually by mail. But if anything, that would be a route to figure out who's who and where they are or how to get a hold of them.
What was the register of, what do you call that?
It's a registered agent for service of process.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Find out the full name of On Track, right? Are they a Tennessee? Are they like registered in Tennessee? Or are they another state's company, so to speak?
They're out of Virginia, Chantilly, Virginia.
Okay, well, the Secretary of State of Virginia might, if you have its full name, might be able to give you that information too. I'm open for correction. Any of the
I
amicus
agree.
wants.
But it should be one in the state too, because they have to be registered to do business in the state that they're doing business in. So it should be one in Tennessee as well. They should be
Okay.
registered as a foreign company.
Okay. Well, they're probably registered. I'm pretty sure they're registered in Delaware because it's free, tax free. So I
Well,
can
if they're
check
working
that.
in your state, they have to be registered there too, and that's where I would start because all of that has to be on file, like who to serve in case there's legal process.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that.
Word.
Thank you.
Anything else, Zach? You good?
Wyoming is another state that some of these companies are being registered to keep from receiving any tax by the state. So some of them are also registered in the state of Wyoming.
But none of them can do business in another state without being registered in that state. So start where you are.
Right. But I'm saying those are alternatives.
Indeed. All right. So, alrighty, friends in law. It's no other hands up right now. I guess we could just do some randomness, but randomness that's not, just not pointed. So one thing that's on my mind, right, is getting cozy with the so-called state, not for the purposes of you feeling or being under any state jurisdiction, but to be familiar of how people are supposed to behaving. How are they supposed to be behaving by the rules, right? And then when you kind of start cozying up, to your law library, you'll start to see some things when you just randomly read articles and you're like, hold up, this is what? Then why are they doing this over here? And that's what you're here for on Newbie Tuesday, because you're seeking to grasp how to begin approaching being able to properly write and record what you're experiencing. And what you're experiencing is obviously a breach of public trust, maybe. Maybe you're experiencing rule breaking. Maybe you're experiencing law breaking. And maybe you want to say something. Maybe it's inconveniencing you, your loved ones, maybe some extended loved ones. And a part of you just don't like seeing injustice. And you find yourself saying things and advocating for loved ones, and you're right, but you're trying to figure out why it's not landing. And the reason, in my experience, where I've had some things land and then had to go back to the drawing board and then I thought it was going to land, and they're like, you just missed this part here. Like, go back and then let me do this. Okay, finally they get it. Okay, finally. What that has come from, in my experience, what happened is, you know, I may be
I think
saying,
it's like what we were talking about before, Hassan, that
yeah,
people understand the concepts behind it, but like they don't know how to punch. They don't know how to street fight. So you understand the concepts, but you don't know how to punch somebody in the face with it.
yeah, and that's why I think then for a newbie, right? If a newbie is learning to defend themselves and they don't want to get bullied, right? And you want to know how to, block and punch. I think the best means, I mean, for me at least, right? And as as we kick it, as we group study, right? Um, and going into those primary and secondary sources, right? Bros and sisters, right? We going into those. And what happens is you begin to calm within the emotion that you feel and begin to go, okay, this is how I feel about the situation that took place. But here I can see in the law library, there are resources that already have language that shows me how I can couch my complaint within that language. And all I have to do is, in couching my complaint in that language, just make sure that the facts are fulfilling the elements and the evidence backs the facts that are fulfilling the elements. How many people actually thought of it that way in this Newbie Tuesday, session for the newbies, and not the advanced group? Any of the newbies ever like roll it in their mind like that? Put a one in the chat if you want. Two in the chat if it's not for you,
I'm gonna say not until recently.
Expounds, no?
Um, I guess with it, like just listening to everybody's like stories and everything, and just like with my own situation, I've learned that like kind of like sit back and take like learning to take your emotions out of it, but also before you even said something the other, I think it was Friday, my brother and I actually had just went back through this book that he found out of my stuff, and it was like basically going through and explaining like the procedure and stuff like that. So I think once we sit back and we're able to take our emotions out of it, we're able to actually see the process fully. Because
How
I've
did
been in this
go ahead?
class for I've been
Go
in this
ahead.
class for almost 2 years now, and it's taken me just about a year or so to be able to actually fully integrate everything that you guys been like talking about and explaining, even though I've been listening and I've been in class just about every day.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, look, check it out. Usually at 2 years old is when, and when we grow up, when we out the womb, we breastfeed, then we're weaning at about 2, 3 years old, right? So I think when we come into this information, we begin to wean off of the excitement of the jurisprudence by then beginning to find a means to, feed ourselves through procedure. Not that we need to do the procedure in order to get respect from some higher ups that see us as under their jurisdiction. No. When you guys take on procedure, it shows you have good home training. It shows you have good manners. And I think that's the way it has to be taken within oneself, because then what you're showing is when you know procedure, you're showing that you're not going to slow down the process to get to the goal. And if
Yes.
remedy, then yeah. But go ahead, finish your thoughts. Go ahead.
I know you're good. I That's what I've been coming to the last few days and like everything we've been talking about the last few weeks, and even just going back and looking at my 1983 claim that I've been typing up and working on for like the last 4 months. Just going back and just rereading procedure and just understanding everything from a different perspective and kind of taking your emotions out of it so that you can see things more clearly. Because when you have a bunch of emotions and you're all over the place, you definitely cannot see what the hell you're looking at. I can tell you that for sure.
Indeed. That's powerful. I think another analogy to that then would be like you're used to eating with your teeth, that you have that have come in since they've grown in, but around 6 or 7, things start getting a little wobbly in the chew aisle of life, right? And then you start to lose teeth, right? And it's not that you can't, bite like you used to. You're making room for a much more permanent bite. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense to me, especially because I'm also taking classes right now to be a doula. And so everything is kind of like hitting me all at once. And like I'm awakening even more spiritually. So I'm just like, what the hell?
Indeed. I mean, hey, what usually happens when we're taking on multiple things at once, usually they all will show up having a commonality and a center. So maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to minister to someone that, maybe not at the time you're being a doula for them. However, maybe it'll develop in a way you may hear by conversation and may have an issue, and you're like, hey, look, there's this community called Lawful Living, you can check them out. And that's usually that stuff like that like happens,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
We all have these different avenues of how we meet people just through different things that we're interested in, and it usually just leads to us ministering to other people who normally is going to need help in navigating to their remedy, right? Because that's really what this is about. It's about navigating to your remedy. And the best way to do so is, and I'm just going to be repetitive, right? With saying this primary and secondary sources, right? I know, like, I know we've been saying that ad nauseum. Right, Sal? These last couple of classes, last few classes, we've been saying that ad nauseum, but we really couldn't say it enough because um, that's what we've always been saying in lawful living. I just think that the reason it's being lasered in more or hammered in more is because another thing that we recognize being students is sometimes it's hard for people to rehabilitate from the guru abuse syndrome. So you guys may be like, and you know who you are, and we've all gone through it. You may be like, oh yeah, I'm getting it. And then you get this really awesome document, and then you just want to throw some guru on it. And it's like, no, stop it. Take that out. It was perfect already. Like, you know what I mean? So that's another reason for the repetition here at the jurisprudence gym, so you guys can begin trusting yourselves more and more as you grow in this thing, because again, you're not wrong. Okay, you're just being reminded of what to do. All right. We got anyone's hand up in the participants area yet?
I think maybe they're ready for advanced questions. Maybe that's
That
what it
is
is.
that is interesante. You got something, Linnell, in your brain?
Oh, I got a few things, but I'm gonna save it for Friday. It's court stuff.
How dare you bring up advance and then no advance you do. Let me stop. I'm kidding. No, it's all good, sis. Well, I mean,
I did have two people actually contact me asking questions about the notice to the court. So that might be something cool to go over.
okay.
Just throwing that out there.
Is interesting. What was the area or the realm of their question when it came to the notice to the court? Like,
Um, I I think that they were just overall confused. They didn't really have a specific directed question, or I just think they didn't have enough, they didn't understand it enough to even ask the right questions.
the notice to the court, right? According to my studies thus far, right? The notice to the court is a way to respectfully notice the court that one cannot be compelled to appear due to the record not reflecting a duty for one to appear. Did I say that right, y'all? That's the spirit of the notice to the court. I hope I got that correct. Let's say it one more time.
Right.
Yeah. So the foundation, the whole entire spirit of the notice to the court is to inform the court, right? Respectfully, right? You respect, you know, and preserving the integrity of the administration of justice and the judicial process, right? So it is a courtesy by giving notice, by letting them know in such a way that, hey, I don't want you to mess up your job here. I want you to stay in good behavior. All right. And in order for you to be in good behavior, I think I need to just put you on notice that um, the record doesn't reflect that I owe a duty to appear. So I can't be compelled to appear, therefore I am not appearing. That's the notice to the court to me. Does anybody else want to share what their thoughts is or what the notice to the court is?
That sounds pretty spot on, I think.
I mean, I'm definitely
Agreed.
about the angles though. Seriously, if there's any other angles, like seriously, like it's a beautiful document, right? Shout out to the squad. I know it was firstly I introduced our bro trading brigade, right? And shared it with the squad, and we just been, moving forward ever since. But we, what I mean, of course, he and Malika worked on that. I know I was there a lot, but just was like a blur for me. Like, oh, what is this? Oh my God, this is awesome. Once I read it and comprehended it, I was like, okay, I get it. I get it.
Hassan, we got a question in the chat.
All righty, and that's whom. Let me come back here because I was looking at the law library. on my phone. Alrighty, I am.
Okay, the first thing I want to say is that I heard you mention about the notice of the court, but 2 years ago, last year, I lost all my information on my phone. Everything was just wiped, and it had to go back to factory reset. Just a week and a half ago, the same thing happened. So some of those documents that you guys talk about, and I had requested because that was the issue and I literally went in to get information out of the email, and I literally watched it before my eyes. Everything was just gone out of the email. It went from full to blank. So I don't have most of the documents that you talk about. But the question that I have is that someone was asking me questions about marriage, and I did go to, I think it's Title 26 in the Washington Code, 26 dot something. I can't remember it exactly. So, because what I do now, or what I have been doing, is going to the Washington Code, looking at their definitions, and then trying to find an alternate within the areas when questions are posed to myself. So the information in there, Washington talks about what is called solemnization or solemnized. And I guess,
Solemnization.
right. And I believe that is where it's the ceremonies that's being practiced to join a union of a man and a woman.
Correct. I solemnly swear that we are unified in holy matrimony. That's usually the language, but go ahead. I yield.
Right. So the question is that was brought to me was that the woman was telling me that they want her to present the marriage license as identification. And as much as I was trying to find information regarding it, I didn't see it to be an item to be used as identification, but I did see it to be used as an item of duties and responsibility. And that is the reason why, it is being facilitated through these states for people to utilize these licenses. And if you can assist me in or think of, because I looked at almost everything that I can think of, but most of what I'm talking, I find out they either give you information on the officiate or the officiant, the person or the man or the woman that's doing the ceremonies, but nothing specifically as to why a marriage license is really required and what it's used for. But it does talk about duties and responsibility, as you mentioned, about some other thing under duties and responsibility. So I don't know if that's, something but I'm trying to get answers to kind of figure it out for her, because they're saying they need it to be used. The two pieces of identification they're requesting from her is driver's license and marriage license for identification purposes. So I yield.
Interesting. They need licenses for identification purposes. I'm trying to put it all into perspective. I am for what you just said just
Domestic
now.
relations class. What about that? That's a good place to start.
I know, right? That's why I'm just sitting here thinking like, okay, domestic relations class. Look at that.
Even so, when people are asked for identification, it's typically because they're trying to make an application. And whenever you're applying for so-called government benefits, they're going to want to get that information that's going to confirm the presumption that you are acting as an agent when you are requesting those services. And it's not an entitlement for what the government may just directly owe you in the form of protection or leaving you alone.
So they're just trying to start a presumption situation?
It depends what you're trying to say. I don't know if you guys understand what she said. I know she kind of
Okay.
took a long time or a roundabout way to say it. But when someone's being requested identification, it's typically because they're making application. Does everybody understand that? Does anyone
Correct.
disagree with that? So, what so-called public benefit is being requested from the government that they are requiring identification of the status or capacity in which you are applying for those so-called privileges? So instead of looking for, oh, well, why would they be asking for a marriage license or it should be what is having that or not having that type of identification mean about your access to whatever it is that you actually want?
Is that you can't have it unless you're a public agent, or it's not supposed to be for you?
Or perhaps they're just trying to identify the capacity in which you are applying for it. And if you presume that it's supposed to be that like because they request a type of identification, that means that that's the one required of you. That could be you making that presumption.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes in order for them to be the one who's making it, they might be liable for discrimination.
Well, Malika, what I gathered from her, what she was telling me, is that they were requesting identification, but she said she couldn't see how they needed it because anything that was done with them prior was already given to them, so it would be in their system. So I didn't fully understand what she was trying to explain to me, but that was the best that I can get out of what I was being told.
Yeah, we just answered that. Thank you.
Indeed. All
Someone
right.
says, I have an answer date letter regarding a suit from a credit card company. How should I proceed? Anybody want to chime in?
Answer date? Like, I mean, is this like the second or first date? And are you gonna put out or no? No, it's not that kind of date. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Lawful living, not the love connection. No, I'm kidding. I have an answer date letter. Answer date letter.
Can you show it, Nat? Can you pull it up on the screen? Because that seems like strange or interesting wording. I have an answer date letter.
Yeah, that's why I said it like
Is it
three,
like
4
an
times.
order compelling? A motion to compel? Is it a court demanding that you answer someone else?
Probably a complaint and summons saying that they have 28 days to answer.
Right? We gotta see what it is. Great question. Was that Cindy? Najima, right on. Simulation of legal process. We didn't even see it yet.
Word.
Whatever it is, it's a simulation.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
If you can, Nat, go ahead and pull it up. All right. Ashley, go ahead with your question, comment, or emotional outburst.
Hello, everyone.
Greetings.
I have a question. So there's a case in district court, but the case is a felony charge that is unindicted. Since it is unindicted, I'm wondering, can I get a dismissal for failure to state a claim for where relief can be granted? Because there isn't even an attorney on the case either.
Hold on. You said it. Who is it against?
It's against the all caps agent.
What is that? Who is it against?
Me.
Okay, so say that. We don't speak in those weird types of the all caps, all holding down the caps key don't mean it's against somebody else besides yourself.
Yeah, they're trying to hold me in bondage to cover for that. So
I don't need that. Where did you get that notion from?
well, I know it's all a corporate proceeding.
You know this? What evidence makes you know this?
Well, in my heart of hearts, I feel like
Wait a minute. Now we talking about feelings when you were attempting to quote or reference some type of law or procedure?
well, I'm saying okay, Malika. I don't want to get my words twisted. They have me coming into court. Well, they don't have me coming into court, as you would say. We are volunteer to go to the court, all this and that. They are using my
Hold on. You
license.
said you volunteered? You went to the
No, I haven't
the
gone
circuit?
yet. I haven't gone
Okay.
yet. There's a court date, but I haven't gone yet. However, I looked online to see that the case against me, it is unindicted. So I wanted to know, first of all, what that meant, because if there's a
Okay,
felony,
who is the plaintiff?
the plaintiff is the state.
Okay. So, do you work for the state?
I do not.
So, how can the state be a plaintiff where you are the defendant?
It's an impossibility.
Why? Why is that an impossibility?
We're not of
I
the
don't know that.
same
There's
time.
well, hold on. There's plenty of people that the state can hold responsible.
Yeah, they work for them.
Okay. So, did you ask them for the elements of how you became a defendant?
I'm working on a request for admissions now.
Okay, hold on. You went all the way to request for admissions, which presumes that you are a proper party in the first place.
Oh, okay. I thought you just did that anyway. To have that for the record that I am not a party to their case. So don't worry about the request for admissions. I'm wasting my time.
A request for admission simply presumes you are a proper party to the case already.
Okay, didn't know that.
If your question is about how you became a proper party for the state to be naming you as a defendant, because just not whoever institutes a case and sticks somebody's name as a defendant means that they have standing to bring a case against that alleged defendant. Some things that we do is giving either the presumption or is taken as confirmation that we are properly named parties to the case. Our first line of defense is an objection of the capacity to be sued. And it's a preliminary thing that does not require a motion. Not that it's wrong or bad or evil to do it by motion, but a motion simply presumes you're already a proper party to the case under the jurisdiction of the court, instead of telling them that if they can't prove up their allegations that you can even be a defendant, that they could all just go to hell.
Okay.
The clerk, the judge, the prosecuting attorney, everybody. So, the notice to the court that was just mentioned, it's so interesting that we keep coming back to that today, because it's all about making them prove that you can be named as a defendant before we start looking for other so-called defenses. We think that because the court can and has charged people with felonies, that means that they can charge anybody with felonies. And I appreciate the fact that you brought up twice that it's so-called unindicted, because again, that goes to process, due process, and what process is due to whom. And that depends on the capacity and the relationship between the plaintiff and the defendant. In order for the state to be a party, a proper party, and the defendant to be a proper party or proper parties with each other, it depends on the relationship between those parties. So if the relationship between me and the state is I am one of the sovereign people and they are the public servant, they cannot command me if that is the relationship. Do you guys understand?
Yeah, you see that all day in the news.
If the relationship is they are the principal and I am one of their agents, contractors, licensees, or franchisees, then again, we are good.
Word.
But that's where the question begins. At the caption, where it says who the parties are. It's just like, your mom can't call me inside at sundown. My mom can call me inside at sundown. So it's going home at sundown either way, correct? I'm going home at sundown, but you can't make me. Your mom can't make me go home at sundown. So it's not that you can't make somebody come to court and that you don't have any power, which we're talking about that aspect today, because still this is the mindset that so many new people come to this conversation, that they need to illegitimize the entirety of the government and every single administrative agency, instead of just going, look, you might be able to do some shit with somebody somewhere, but I'm going to need you to prove every element at the presumption that I am the one, and this is the place and the proper subject matter.
Yeah, that's your first question there. When you said, if that's my name, how did you get it?
Right. We are too focused on participating in the bullshit instead of asking the proper questions. If you are a proper participant, you can start making your challenges by motion. But if you're challenging to being a proper participant, then that is done typically by notice. I prefer to do that even as a newbie. I know it seems really strange because as a newbie, when you have no context, looking at that notice of the court, it might seem insufficient. It might seem insufficient because y'all heard all this nonsense about subrogation and birth certificates. I see you, Queen. And I have a birth certificate, and so that means I got to do some other strange and weird process. That's not proper procedure.
I
So
see you.
if you have the notice of the court, if you don't have it, take the class that has it. There's a couple of classes that have it. There's a sued now what class, and that's where most people need to start. If you said you've not appeared in court yet, Ashley, so if you have access to the sued now what course, go ahead and take or retake that. You will get access to the notice from the court with explanation. With explanation. A lot of people, Linnea mentioned people have issue because they don't know how to use the notice. That's because they haven't watched the class or they haven't rewatched the class. That notice has been kicking ass like a quiet storm, We don't even hear from people for months and months because they just put that on there with comprehension, of course. And just like with other things, y'all ever notice the more money you get, the more people want to give you free shit? You thinking you gotta hurry up and get a bunch of money so you can buy all this stuff, you start getting money, people start giving you stuff. When you comprehend the notice of the court and you're confident enough to file it in there and stand on it, all of a sudden cases start dropping off and you never get a chance to go in there and beat your chest like you might have been hoping. Sued Now What is the class? If any of my affiliates are in here, link the newbies to the class. Sued Now What?
Sorry, I was busy sharing screen.
Sued Now What? Go ahead and put it in the chat, affiliates. When they start talking about the UCC and stuff, you always have to start at the caption. If the state is the injured party, you have to figure out under what circumstances somebody could be a defendant to the state.
In light of what Joe said that brought up, and when myself was like that was theft of property, I think bro said, right? Theft of property. I got that right?
Yes.
All right, so you already know I was like super duper inspired. Hold on 2 seconds. Let me switch mics real quick, y'all. Don't mind. It's 2 seconds. Is this better, guys? I hope it's better.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Better.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. Gratitude.
We're gonna do what you do, Hassan. Send that letter, the answer date. Send the letter back saying, "Is this we're gonna have sex or anything like that?"
What can I expect on this date? Oh,
Yeah.
stop it.
Because I would do that
Hey,
because
Y'all know it's just people misspeaking, obviously.
I'm an asshole and I would do that.
Like, I mean, is it gonna be foreplay or 12 play?
Yes.
Some
You
R.
guys.
Kelly-ness here? Let me stop. I'm kidding. So
commercial intercourse.
Wow. Well, I mean, yeah, that is what it is, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So when South brought that up, you know me, I immediately got curious. So I was like, let me just go and fantastic voyage on over to Tennessee real quick. And as I do what I do, I ended up just scrolling and hey, chapter 39 sounded real close. So is Josette still here? And this is just something just to inspire the community in general to show you that, you know, reading is fun to mental. And I said it like that on purpose. Reading is fun to mental. So under Title 29, right, for Tennessee's Code Annotated, Title 29, Remedies and Special Proceedings, Chapter 39, right? So Title 29, Chapter 39, compensation for economic and non-economic damages. Is Josette, you still here?
I'm taking notes.
Read this real quick and let me know if reading it helps to let it settle on in that it may be something that's tied to your situation, or if it's not, then I was just loud and wrong. And I don't mind being loud and wrong, honestly, because I think that needs to happen in this kind of community where it's like, oh, okay, because that'll encourage everyone else to be like, all right, cool, maybe I'm not correct on some things, let me correct it. And that's what we're here to do. We're just here to improve, right? So let's see. Go and read, Joseph. What do you see here? It's not even long. It's only 2 definitions that you're going to read. But go ahead.
I can't see it.
You're not sharing your screen.
I'm not sharing again? Are you serious and stop sharing?
Yeah.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Thank you, y'all. Boom. Let's do this again. All right. And I'm doing it on my phone on purpose so that you guys will see that you don't need an elaborate office to do this. All right. I want to make this as give you the least amount of excuses to use as possible. All right. I yield, Joseph. Go right ahead.
I started one.
You can start at when if you like. You can start at when. you know?
Okay. When used in a chapter, the following words shall have the meanings set forth below, unless the context clearly requires otherwise. 1. Economic damages means damages to the extent they are provided by applicable law,
Hmm.
objective, verifiable, pecuniary damages
Stop
arising
right
from
there.
medical.
So, and also all of that just said, hey, look, economic damages means you gonna get some bread if this happened. Start with medical expenses. Number one, go ahead.
From medical expenses and medical care,
Number
rehabilitation
two,
services.
number
Oh,
three.
number two. I can't see two.
No, yeah, two is rehabilitation. I was just getting you in the
Okay, you just said
comfortable. That's all.
okay. Mental health treatment,
Mm-hmm.
custodial care, loss of
Mm-hmm.
earnings,
Mm-hmm.
earnings capacity, loss of income, burial costs, loss of use of property, which that I'm losing use of my property,
Well, I mean, yeah,
repair.
you kind of get it. You weren't able to use it quite yet, but that's why I said let's just go down this rabbit hole to inspire you to be like, oh, okay, well, let me look. But go ahead, continue reading.
Repair or replacement of property, obtaining substitute,
That sounds interesting. But go ahead, continue.
uh, obtaining substitute domestic services, loss of employment, loss of business or employment opportunities, and other objectively verifiable monetary losses
So
and
that was economic damages. All right,
or
continue.
non-economic damages. Means damages to the extent they are provided by applicable law for physical and emotional pain, suffering, inconvenience, physical impairment, disfigurement, mental anguish. Boy, they've been giving me that for a while. Oh, somebody's chats in front of my eyes. Emotional distress, loss of society, companionship and consortium, injury to reputation, humiliation, non-economic effects of disability, including loss of enjoyment, I'm losing enjoyment, of normal activities,
Mhm.
benefits and pleasures of life, and loss of mental or physical health, well being, or bodily functions, and all other non pecuniary losses of any kind or nature. Very
So,
interesting.
and yeah, that's Tennessee, and they give you a little note. You know, it's a note decision, right? Right.
Do you have a subscription to that Westlaw
Pardon me.
to get? You have to have a subscription to that Westlaw to get on
Short
that.
answer is no.
Oh, so I could look at it from West. I could look at this from Westlaw because they
If
usually
you
make me
can,
go to the next.
if you can find the link.
Oh, okay,
That's how. That's. I'm just saying. That's how it was shared with me. I'm not saying that it's not out there. You know
okay,
what I mean? But I do
right.
recognize because a few of our friends in law, they've had that experience and already told me, hey, I had to get on the phone with somebody. I was like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have to get on the phone with anyone. Right. All right. To
All
continue to continue, I wanted you to see your remedy. You know what I mean? I wanted you to see at least maybe we're getting closer to it. Right. But that's just the definitions. Right. Let's see if we
right.
hit the back button just a little bit. Right. Because I was just in the area of compensation for economic and non-economic damages. And I'm just telling you, like, when I'm studying, I'm not saying like, I know this is it. I'm just kind of like following like this uh dowsing rod type of, you know what I mean, energy. So it's like if I'm holding two dowsing rods or whatever, is that the term for them? Dowsing rods when you're trying to find
So
water?
is this an attempt to make a civil claim or is this a tort claim?
I
I,
was saying
that's
a tort claim,
that's what I was
but
looking at. I was like, let's see, let's look at what civil actions come from that or
Yeah,
whatever.
with
I don't know.
civil, I think perhaps yeah, if she's doing a tort claim, then the Tort Claims Act would be the procedure, process, or whatever you want to call it. If
Interesting.
she's
So
doing a regular civil action, then of course this would be it.
You know what's interesting,
Okay.
sis? I saw that here too. Let's do this. Let's turn this way, make it a little smaller
And
so we can
depending on the
see.
jurisdiction, of course, a tort claim might be filed in a civil venue and not necessarily within the agency itself. So it all depends on the rules of that venue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
Compromise
can
and
find that
settlement.
easy. You can find that if you just go on Google Chrome, AI is automatically in there. The first thing it'll pull up is it'll find it for you.
Gotcha.
Whether
It's
to do
great.
civil or court. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I mean, I guess that's what Stephen was talking about. I was just sharing that, and I'm appreciating the wisdom that's coming from all the friends in law. I was just sharing that when I get started, with my newbie mindset, I'm like, let me see, and I start just thumbing around to see like, okay, this sounds close, but that might not be just where I leave it, right? But as I'm checking a particular section, I will check everything in that particular session. It was like 4 or 5 or 6 things just to see, and then I'll kind of draw, I'll come to a conclusion. Like, I don't know. Let me just put that to the side. That's cool. I'm kind of in a way, without having a 4-color pen, I'm briefing the different
Yeah,
sections of like the proceedings that may have that has remedies in them and things of that nature. I mean, we clearly see Tennessee has a section called remedies and proceedings, which is where we are, right? That is where we
that's
are, right? That's what it
that's
says right
that's
there, right? Remedies and
yeah.
special proceedings. Go ahead, I'm
And
listening.
that's why you want to have that's why you want to use the Chrome AI, which is just the first level. It'll take you to the second level, and you'll have so much fun using that. I mean, I can sit there all night just asking questions.
To get to
Just,
Westlaw
no,
or
no,
just
not to get to
questions in
Westlaw.
general? Oh, okay. Okay,
Questions in
just
general,
asking.
legal questions. I mean, it'll have so much, and it'll tell you tells you how many sources it went to and everything, and just it's like an adding machine, and
So
it's great.
someone asks, what about when it's a company? Um, King Howard, when you say it's a company, you mean like as the plaintiff? If it's
Yes.
if the question, okay, as a plaintiff, it's the same question. What is the
Mm-hmm.
relationship between the plaintiff and the defendant?
Let's
Who
see if
can a corporation sue? Usually, if the plaintiff is a legal entity, so must be the defendant. And this is a great newbie question because this is the point where the guru abuse syndrome will say, well, then that's why you need to create or step into your office of person so that you could
wow,
be on equal
Right.
footing with the business or company or corporation, which is funny because perhaps that might put you on equal footing, but it's a step down from the superior capacity of being private. Why would I want to step down from my superior capacity? You know how people say don't fight, don't get down, right? And fight because you go down to their level or some nonsense like that. And if it's a dog, you get fleas and all that stuff, right? Stuff like that.
yes, yes.
Okay, why would we want to do that?
Hmm.
Why would we want to do that? Why can't I just tell you that unless you are on my level, you can't talk to me instead of being coached by internet gurus to get down to the level of a servant and representative and then stand and or fight from there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
they're
need to
saying
be a
So it's
SPC
basically telling the
coach.
court if Synchrony Bank or Chase Bank or anybody send you anything about me, you let them know what I told you.
And that's a good starting point and good question because I forgot which was the class was it, guys, that we actually went over um the capacity of who a corporation can sue when we did the research down into that. And
I
it,
remember that, but I'm just you state agencies, I guess, with regular corporations. I'm thinking of
what we need to
corporations there
focus on
are
is
still.
the fact that the relationship about capacity, whether it's the plaintiff is a corporation, another man or woman, or a public agency, who can be a defendant and for what reason is different. And the question is, well, what is that relationship? And what does it need to be in order for the parties to be proper? When you're reading about the bar, for example, or the business and what do you call it? Business and Commerce Code or something like that.
Word.
You'll start seeing a list of privileges granted from the relationship that one has with the state. And it'll be one of them will be to sue and be sued. Anybody ever seen that as a list of privileges? To sue and be sued?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go, Queen. Pigpen. Yes, Pigpen. Go ahead and put the link to the to check out the Pigpen class affiliates.
I have that one, but it's a lot of the classes that I pay for, and I can't open them anymore. Like they're not letting me like
Send a
you know.
send a message to support at freedomfromgovernment.org or lawfulliving.com. That happens sometimes. People sometimes try to sign in from different emails, or there might be another minor issue. But when you have those minor issues or any issue, I don't want to minimize anybody's issue. Just email support at either freedomfromgovernment.org or lawfulliving.com, and they will assist you in getting your account unblocked or whatever.
Okay, thank
There you go, Josette. Josette
Oh,
says
my
she thinks we
comment
went
wasn't
over it in as above, so below.
my
So,
comment wasn't about that. I actually just got kicked off, and when I came back on, it acted like everybody just came back on. So, uh, disregard my comment.
oh,
My Zoom shut down on me. I don't know why.
I don't know if your comment came through, but okay.
I went
you.
and
I
looked
believe I
in
was confusing
I'm sorry, go ahead.
regular corporations as not being state agencies.
Yes, but that still doesn't relieve the plaintiff of having a certain type of relationship with the defendant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. Don't get caught up on if it's a public agency or if it's a private man or if it's a corporation, but what the prerequisites of that relationship where one could be a plaintiff and one could be a defendant. It's just not everybody. When you read the corporate codes and they start talking about the privileges of a corporation to sue and be sued, you're still faced with the rules of construction like e justem generis in para materia. Like what has to be, what do they have to, what is the relationship like? So a corporation can sue any one of its employees, agents, franchisees, okay, or vendors. Do you guys understand that?
So who can we sue?
Anybody that damages
That's
us that we can prove damages. If you run into my fence, I could sue you. You run over my dog, I could sue you. You punch me in the face without aggravation in self-defense, I could sue you. Whoever slanders me or my name or my reputation, I can sue you because that's damages.
Gotcha.
they could be an NGO too,
So
because it's like Washington.
anyone who is damaged by the defendant can sue the defendant.
Yeah.
Okay? How does a non-living entity become injured when it's not someone running into their building, busting up their windows, or
Gotcha.
taking their corporate property? That's the question to ask. When they just name a regular man or woman, I don't care if they wrote your names in all tiny letters, all cap letters, a mix. When they're naming or attempting to name a private man or woman, what does the relationship between the entities have to be? That is a very great newbie question because too many of us start diving into what is being spoken about and
That's right.
arguing, well, I didn't owe that much, or I paid that off, or I had an instrument that paid that. And all my signature paid it off and all types of stuff we start talking about.
They go
When
right to the merits.
a corporation just cannot sue just anybody they want, unless, of course, we start playing the role that they are alleging by naming us as a defendant. Does everybody understand what I'm saying, or y'all got questions?
Yeah,
It's
they keep
amazing. Go ahead.
calling it the government, like Washington, the Washington DMV. They already told me they're not a
No, we're not
government
talking about
agency.
Washington DMV or a public entity. We're talking about the relationship between when whoever the plaintiff is, like a corporation, and when they name a man or woman as a defendant.
Well, they couldn't have the capacity.
Maybe they could, but what does it have to be?
An injury.
Comprehending what the relationship has to be is much better than just parroting, well, it doesn't apply to me. Well, it's impossible that it's applicable.
Like kind.
Yeah.
They would
So
have
you're
to be of
saying,
like kind, ejustum generis, they would have to be of like kind. And
yeah,
they
your
would have to
question.
be in equal association.
So in what way can a corporation and a regular man be in that type of relationship?
Contract.
What kind of contract?
One where
Minimal
you
contacts.
did you say a contract between a man and a woman? Did you say
Nope,
was that?
nope.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
A corporation is the plaintiff.
Not
Okay.
an
A
unconscionable one.
man or woman is named as defendant. Under what circumstances can that relationship be proper in legislation, litigation?
Where the man or woman has a documented connection or nexus with said corporation? Is that what you're saying?
Certification.
So the man or woman has a LLC with the state, so they can be sued by the state.
It's not a bad example, but I don't think that's I don't think that's how
LLC,
it goes.
It depends. Are you being sued as acting an agency for the LLC, or just because the LLC exists? Because those are not the same.
Oh, no.
Okay, so just having an LLC does not create the minimum contact?
Correct. Just having anything with the state does not automatically create anything except the ability to potentially be in a relationship.
Can I ask you something, Malika? Where in life does having anything create something existential to having it?
Relationship.
Only if you're the government.
That's a good question, Seven. And if it's forced, we already know what that's called.
Who?
People think that because they fill out credit applications for, let's say, credit cards or store credit or something, that if there is a so-called default on that alleged obligation, that the so-called creditor can sue. That people believe that here, correct?
I don't know. Look, I was looking at the LLC.
You're allowed. Okay, you can't answer, Steven. You're allowed to apply. It's easy. You go and you ask for an application for a so-called credit card or store credit. They give you the so-called store credit or credit card, or Amex or MasterCard or whatever. They give it to you. And if you allegedly default, you think that's a relationship that qualifies them to sue you in court. Yes or no?
No.
Yes.
Okay, whoever, whether you say no or you say yes, explain in the comments why you think it's no or yes. No cheating.
Well, I'm saying yes because that's the way we were taught.
Well, you can't
That's
just
what
say
was
that.
happening.
That's not a good answer.
Mm, okay.
I appreciate it. Not a good answer.
Malika, the reason,
I'm hearing you saying no now, but I mean, we always thought that that's how it went. Like if we don't pay the bill, then
But
now
did
we got to
I
pay the
say
bill so
no?
they can
Did
sue us.
I say no? I'm asking y'all. Do you think that that relationship qualifies the store or credit card company to bring a claim and name one of us as a defendant?
I'm gonna still say yes, so we
Malika,
can get to the bottom of it right now.
Yeah.
the reason I said no pertaining to that question was because if, to me, and this is me, I'm not speaking for everyone else. This is what I believe. I feel. I feel if someone is making application for a credit card, then the application that's being made, if it's filled out by someone not of the knowing and they're filling it out and it's based under
Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
perjury and it's based under penalty of perjury, then based on that, if it's on the knowing, then no. But if it's someone who does know and they are in the having the responsibility and the duties to perform and act as such agent with the credit card company, then I would say yes. So I don't know. That's what I feel.
All right, let's hear from some other folks. Thank you for sharing.
Somebody else got their hand up?
I want to hear from you guys about this question.
No, because it has to be for
You can't keep
commercial.
answering in the chat either, Steven. Come on. We got like 50 people on the call and 3 people, almost 70 people on the call and 3 people participating.
That is hilarious.
Attorneys do this all the time, and you missed it.
And you have to be.
People think I applied for and potentially used this credit card. So that is I am in the capacity of who this credit card company can sue.
You're still not of like kind, which is
Say no because I don't know if you heard me last time. I'm gonna say no again because the use would have to be for commercial purposes.
Oh. And that is what would create the e justum generis and the parity and the impedimentatia and all of that. But when we are named as defendants in credit card cases, we just start talking about some other stuff because we don't know what it takes, what capacity it is prerequisite to being named as a defendant when a corporation is the plaintiff, or when anybody else is the plaintiff, when a regular man or woman is the plaintiff, whether a public entity is the plaintiff. We're not aware of our capacity. So to be sued, we start thinking, well, I did swipe that car, I did buy that boat, or I did take that trip to wherever with my family, and we did run up that bill. Matter of fact, I applied for the credit card so I could go run that shit up.
Run it up.
When I gave that argument to another group, when they were saying about challenging it in the capacity, it was like, no, you can't challenge it in the capacity now because you knew what you were doing when you signed.
Can you prove
So
that allegation? Because then now they really do sound like attorneys.
Okay.
Can you prove? What evidence do you
I
have?
said unconscionability, and they wasn't letting me get away with it.
No,
But
Wouldn't
but
it
they
have to
said,
be
I'm talking
based on
about the you
intent?
cannot challenge part. You cannot challenge because you knew what you were doing. So do they have documentary evidence to prove, admissible evidence to prove that you knew what you were doing? Because that's the same stupid ass argument the attorneys use, and we kick their ass. So
Yep.
I'm asking, speaking to your, I know it's not directly from you, but speaking to what you just brought up, who can prove my intent?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It would have to be based on intent.
Who can prove it though?
Well,
Only
if the
you.
man or the woman, it
Nobody.
would be the
Can
man.
I prove my own intent?
The
You,
element to
well, if
prove intent is the desire of the outcome that happened to the one that suffered the outcome. That's how you prove intent, at least in some states.
But even with intent, if there's no capacity, it doesn't matter the intent. You don't have the capacity, you can't enter into the agreement, the contract, or anything.
Boom.
Somebody said the letter of intent before the fact of application.
Well, the letter of intent and
That's
an
a great
application,
point.
it's almost, if I may, just based off of what was just said, simplify it if you can. What is it that we do normally where before we can begin talking about the prerequisites of the thing when you're actually doing the action of it? What has to take place before you start doing the activities or the performances of that thing? Anything, I don't care what it is that you do every day.
You got to have a meeting of the minds.
Make it more simple. Make it so Pookie and Ray Ray can comprehend it, Steve.
You got to have a quid pro quo. I'm going to give you
No,
this for
Pookie and Ray
that.
Ray, I said. Pookie and Ray Ray.
Having an understanding what you're
Okay.
applying for.
You can't use Latin. And this is me saying you can't use Latin. Pookie and Ray
Pookie
Ray.
and Ray Ray. All right.
Yeah, give a better example.
But I know an attorney who makes all kinds of money. He just collects free stuff on credit cards. I can show you. I can tell you how he does it, but I'm not gonna.
Well, the point I'm making, as far as when speaking intent and application and stuff like that, what I'm saying is that usually people, before they began making agreements and things of that nature, they usually kind of weigh if this is whom they want to interact with anyway before start agreeing. I'll say, like, for example, one example would be, let's say, I don't know, you want to play a game of pickup basketball. Now, you know that you want to play basketball.
Rules, okay.
You know what I mean? You know that. You know what the rules are. But are you a 30-year-old man about to play with 9 other 15-year-olds? Is that the contract that you're going to temporarily create and be under the rules of playground basketball at that moment? Because what I think, just by looking at your age and their age, doesn't mean I'm taking away from the skill set, but just off of the record alone, y'all not even a justum generis. Y'all not of like
Right.
kind.
Right.
Correct.
And as soon as the attorney finds out how the rules go, he gets a basketball Jones.
I
I'm
don't know if
telling you.
any of them ever realize how the rules go,
That was
because
actually
I'm
funny.
telling you, when we communicate with them, all we get is shock and awe, and from these attorneys, because just like everybody else, just like
Well, they don't.
most realtors have never actually studied anything in their profession outside of what was absolutely necessary to barely pass the real estate test. They don't actually know like what real estate even means. They don't know the origins of anything. All they're thinking about is how many properties they're going to list, and hopefully and pray that they're going to sell some. We
Yep.
see this in every single profession.
Yep.
And when the attorneys come with that, I have no idea that I'm required to show agency. It's like, aren't you an agent?
I remain ignorant.
Thank you for quoting me, baby. I hope you got a screenshot of that. I hope you got.
Don't be
I
afraid.
hope y'all took screenshots of that post. I
Don't be
remain
afraid.
ignorant of the requirement, and as soon as we showed it to her ass again, she quit. Look,
Don't be
attorney
afraid,
firm
baby.
gone.
Don't be afraid, baby. This is
That's what we
John.
should write them. Don't be
This is John.
afraid.
Don't be afraid, baby.
Malika, I have a quick outburst about that credit card. If they're trying to say he knew, or didn't they know he wasn't like an officer or a member of the bank?
But remember, these people are just giving knee-jerk, general, idiot responses, which is why they can't talk that shit to people like us over here. Because when they start trying to tell me, "Oh, you knew, bitch," what the admissible evidence that I knew? And how did you have firsthand knowledge that I knew?
Well, Well,
Right.
no, they don't want to spill the beans.
Come
Come
on.
on.
It's a good exercise, Howard, or whoever it was that said they proposed the question of capacity in other groups. This is why other groups want to buy our receipts and have people come over there and trying to stalk a Thad and things like that.
Ain't gonna help them.
Because capacity is the whole thing. This is why guru abuse is still working. They're leading people off of a cliff because people cannot think clearly when they are under pressure. This is not an individual character flaw. This is our basic physiology, guys. It is scientifically proven that our mind narrows
Indeed.
when we are stressed.
This is a very interesting read, y'all. Forgive me, I'm just zoned
it's
up
like-
for a second. Well,
It's like asthma. You know, it constricts and your blood constricts,
Yes, and
blood
that's what's
vessels.
happening sometimes when people come to us, which is why, and I'm not picking on anybody in particular, we speak a certain way about the situation, and it reveals to those of us that are more, well, we're detached from it because it's not our situation, one, and then we're more learned in emotional maturity and self-control, and we're going to attempt to talk you off the ledge that we can see that you're on based on your perspective being so close to the situation and being also new, because a lot of us are unfortunately trying to learn this stuff after we've already received an invitation to the court.
Right. So you got sock and awe, and you're throwing a shoe back at him.
So that's why, again, as Hassan said, it's you guys can take a class, you can book us, but let's get our concepts corrected.
Get the
so that we
fundamentals
can-
down.
Correct.
Emotional outburst, Malika?
Wait, hold on. We got some questions that I want to get to because we only got like 30 minutes left.
Yeah, I was just following up on what you said just a minute. I was just saying it would fall, to me, it would fall under 1 USC 1 with all the definition as far as capacities, because it would be listed right all in that first introduction of the code. I yield.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Josette. Josette just posted the link so you guys can book consultations. And at that same link, you guys can explore the site and see about the classes.
Carmen's hands up.
Go ahead, Carmen.
Hey, everyone.
Peace.
Interesting conversation today for sure. Always learning and getting concepts down as well. I put a question in the chat in regards to the whole credit card thing. So obviously my credit cards are my own. I applied for them. And I use one specific credit card for business travel when I travel for my company. So I'm wondering how that commercial term would apply to me, if at all. Because like you say,
You just answered your own question.
That it wouldn't apply to me at all?
Repeat what you just said. Did anybody hear her answer her own question? Did anybody else hear her answer her own question?
Yeah,
Yes.
used in business.
Okay.
I did. I heard her.
So that I can make sure that I'm understanding it. When I'm using that specific credit card to purchase airfare, hotel, all this stuff, only those purchases apply for commercial terms?
You said what only? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
Use determines classification. Use determines classification.
Okay.
If you're not in the capacity, then how can you use it under that classification?
And if you are in that capacity, how could you be confused about what you're not doing?
Okay, I got it now. So my capacity would still interfere because this is not a credit card that the company got for me. It is I use my own. All right. So the second question that I have
You
is
said you use it in business. Did you not hear your own self say that?
Right. I was gonna say it's a business relationship.
I think
but
the
it's
nature of
not
what you're
only a business relationship. That's the whole thing. And I applied for that credit card myself.
Yeah, it's commingling though.
That's what that is.
Yeah, then that is commingling for real.
I mean, that was a good question though, because I was thinking the same thing.
It is a very good question. It's a very good question because lots of people are in that same situation. I'm sure millions.
where
Okay.
where they applied for it
You're
for
not
what?
intentionally using it in
Because she's
commerce,
saying
but you're using it in commerce.
she's showing right. She's showing the commingling. She says I applied for it for myself, but also I use it for my business.
Why?
But it's
That
not
is
my
commingling.
business. It's
Hold on, time out,
for my
time out,
company's
time out,
business.
time out, time out, time out, time out, time out, time out.
Okay.
Because my brain is doing that thing that it does. Because I'm feeling a disconnect. I heard the words, but I'm just still feeling a disconnect. All right. So you said you applied for a credit card
Personal.
Right.
For personal
personally,
credit card.
right?
Right.
Okay. I don't need to know what you do at night when the lights are out.
Yeah, but she
Got it.
is intentionally using it
How did we find
for
that out, Malika? How did we find that out?
business.
How
She
did we
just
find
said
that
it.
out?
She literally just
Exactly.
said it.
Exactly.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
the purchase
So are you
itself
saying
will be told.
self-confession?
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
We want to know
That's
that.
what
Incriminating
I'm
self.
hearing is happening.
Yeah.
But
That's
then
that's
Hold
one
on,
part.
hold
That's
on.
the
Let me
one
hear what Self was
possibility of
saying.
it. That's one
Say that, Self.
possibility of it. But what is she using it on? She buying business things, right? If you're doing business things, doesn't
No.
matter if you say it or not, right? The transaction tells the tale.
Correct.
that is true. But what is
But I
how,
could have been using the same thing also for personal stuff.
no,
There's no
That's
way
the
of knowing.
commingling. That's the problem with the commingling, ain't it?
how
Exactly.
do no see look, all right, it's time out. This is all right.
No, I
I
hear
see
what
When
you're
what you're
you
saying
saying.
say
I
already,
hear what you're
Hassan.
saying, and I agree. But
I
there's
agree too,
certain
Hassan.
right, but there's some things you're not going. You don't have to self confess on, right? It's just what's bought,
You're
and
right.
you know what I mean. Like some
It's a
things are.
given.
You're
But what
right.
if business
Exactly.
is like, if she says she's using it for when she's at work, and what if that thing that it's a personal card, right? That's the intent, right? We're talking. Then wasn't we talking
Correct.
about
It's
intent
my
at first?
personal
How
card
much?
and I
Okay,
get
time out, time out,
reimbursed.
time out. So
I
you're
get reimbursed. Hassan, did you hear
see,
that part?
okay, that's why I'm like, hold on, man,
She's
hold on.
commingling, bro.
No, hold
Ain't
on, but
no saving that one.
hold
No.
on. Hold on. I'm not trying to save it. I'm trying to put it into perspective because I'm trying to. It's like, what are you being reimbursed for? You had to catch an Uber somewhere to get a meeting. You had to buy plane tickets because you had to catch a
Yes.
flight to go, whatever. And because you were on a
Correct.
clock doing that. Okay, stop. Now, you're saying that you had to use, right? Let's just put it in terms of Federal Reserve notes. You went into your private wallet,
Correct.
right? And your job said, hey, look, I'll reimburse you if you come out of your private pocket for this.
Correct.
Okay. Now we put that in perspective, right? What's the commingling part again? That's the part I'm trying
The
to figure out now.
reimbursement. When
She
you
bought
get
paper
reimbursed
clips for
by
the
a
business.
corporation, it's as if that corporation bought it.
But that's what they should have did in the first place, because she would have never
No,
had to
not
reach in a fucking
necessarily. If you're
pocket.
acting as an agent, and I'm saying this from, well, it's secondhand because it's my manslave that used to do it, but
Got you.
he had the same situation going on.
Isn't that a perfect example of natural person?
That is a perfect example of natural person. She's acting as an agent. Once that corporation reimburses her, it becomes their corporate asset. She is an agent, and she's currently acting as an agent in
But
order to be
why
reimbursed.
did she have to reach in her pocket in the first place? Is
It
my
doesn't
question.
matter. It doesn't matter because Adam had to do the same thing. All he did was show receipts and they reimburse him. It doesn't matter why you have to go into your personal pocket because the relationship is that you're acting as an agent. So
The fact that
whether
you
you
did
take it
it,
out your personal pocket or you take it out of petty cash, okay,
you
you
did it.
submit receipts and you get.
Contractual relationship between you and your business. So that is the reason.
So then
It is
now
a
what's the
business for
problem
you.
with the credit card now? Now that I comprehend the transactions done with the credit card and I understand the nature, what's the problem now with the credit card company?
She's trying to figure out the relationship based on how she is using
The use
the
determines
card.
classification.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was
So
wondering that same thing because I applied for a business credit card, but they used my personal information to give me the credit limit for it.
Well, they did that as because they used their person as a guarantor.
Yes.
Okay,
You guys never had
Malika.
like a corporate job? Nobody on here ever had a corporate job where they ran your credit to make sure they can use you as a agent of credit? You personally? Y'all never had a job like that or
I
related
probably
related
had
to
that
a
situation
All
on
of them
my
do
related
it.
to
other
somebody,
position.
a cousin, a aunt, a
No,
uncle,
but they
somebody?
extended. No, I didn't have that,
Malika.
but they gave
They
a
still
corporate line without running
extended
your
based
credit.
one
on
at a
your
time, y'all.
credit.
One at a time, y'all, please. Go ahead. How
The
you?
All right. Malika, this is Shirley. Back when I had talked to you about this, about having a business and or being a rancher, having a ranch, I think there's a little bit of gray area because I think you had mentioned to me as long as it wasn't a corporate and or governmental working for the Fed, that it was, I mean, I understand she's working, hers is under the corporation, but as long as if it's a personal business, let's say you're selling grass out of your backyard and that's your business to sell grass to your neighbors, and that's how you make your money to feed yourself. Then and I'm using my credit card for that, but it is called a business, then I think you had confirmed that that's not the same. The same as, if we all know that ranches, farmers
Are you being reimbursed by a corporation?
Yeah, no.
Okay, so it's not the same situation.
Yeah.
And
So I just
her
wanted to make
question
sure.
is to help clarify what that relationship has to be. Very important conversation, and I'm glad you guys have questions and are participating in this conversation. I get what Hassan's saying. Don't confess on yourself, but you better know your shit if you're going to be able to stand on it.
Right.
But
Exactly.
so the problem would come in if there was an issue with the relationship of the credit card situation, is if there wasn't a payment made. Right? That would be the whole situation. What would create an investigation
or any kind of alleged breach of contract.
But like I said, this is the only credit card that I use for that purpose.
I don't know.
I use
how
it
that's
for my
relevant.
own personal stuff too, because I want to get the rewards for using the card.
So you use it for your personal stuff too, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, it's my credit card. It's my credit card. It
And I
doesn't
want
belong to my
everybody to be
company.
aware. I'm not saying that Carmen is wrong or that Carmen is bad or evil. I'm just telling everybody that that is what is called commingling.
Commingling. Look it up.
I'm just, and I'm also thinking this too. Again, not trying to save anything
For
here.
some reason, it just doesn't sink on me. So
it's okay. Some of us take a little bit longer than others to get whatever's going on.
I'm just putting it in perspective of like, okay, let's take it back to maybe, I don't know, 100 years ago. And you got 4 quarters in your pocket. All righty. 2 of those quarters is for, to feed you and the family. Those
not
other
the same. That's a terrible analogy.
Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. No,
because
it's not.
you got 4 quarters in your pocket and 2 is
no,
used for your family and 2 is used for business. That's not commingling.
No, I gotta use it. I gotta use the example. No, because before credit cards, there was these other means of exchange. And I get it. Credit cards are what they are. But I'm thinking when it comes to accounting what expenditures took place, aren't they going to get itemized accordingly? Well, this was for this.
If it's
this
for your
was for this.
That for your pocket analogy, if you were being conscious of or conscientious of where you're putting what, you would put your personal monies in one side of your pocket and the corporate monies in the other pocket.
Correct.
Not put them in the same pocket, because that might be of commingling.
Okay.
Right.
So when you're
Yeah,
doing your ledger, you would say left pocket, blah blah blah, and right pocket, blah blah blah.
Correct.
And you spend
Correct.
some, and you spend some of the quarter from one pocket and put the change in the other pocket.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And that's how they do it.
Okay.
That's how they.
I have a follow-up question.
Hang on, I
No,
feel like she wants
wait.
to be the corporation on one hand, and then she wants to also not be the corporation. Like she just
Like most people, they want the benefit of corporate
Right.
privileges, but they don't want the responsibility of those same corporate privileges.
you have to, like you said, the actions. Like you just have to make the decision of what you're going to do with it, and then act that way instead of try to be both.
Okay, so if I were to have or use that credit card only for the things that I do for my job, would that change anything?
Of course. Like, do you know how many people from my husband's job have gotten fired for commingling? They out here got carbon copies and a copying machine and ice melt.
But that is because they're using their companies.
And then Victoria's Secrets. Bitch, what? What are
And
you
that's why
doing?
attorneys
But
have a dozen pockets.
that is if that credit card belongs to the company, but this credit card belongs to me. It doesn't belong to my company.
But you're still using it for the company and being reimbursed.
Yes, I get that part.
Okay. So then
But
that's
that's
the
what I'm
whole of it,
saying
though.
is like if I were to have or start using that credit card only for the transactions from the work, then would that stop me from
What most people don't understand, or actually, yes, definitely understand or realize. We'll say things like work or my employer or whatever, but I want everybody to hear me very clearly. You are running a business when you are engaging as an agent with another business. You might want to see yourself as a sole proprietor instead of the commingling personal and corporate. It is a business you're running. You can look at your employer as one of your customers. Ain't nobody tell you to only have one customer. You chose to have only one customer, but you can obviously have as many customers as you wish.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they don't have to be real either.
And in that, I mean, with Photoshop, we can make anything possible.
That's right.
Ask me how I know.
No, we
We
just
have
make
all
up
these
our
entities running around here on paper. We can make some shit up.
Yeah,
I don't know about
absolutely.
all that, but okay.
So, I wanted to
don't think
read
they
this
would go
in
that
Tennessee
deep
real quick.
I'm not telling
in
people
a
to
court
do that.
case anyway, but
But
Yeah, the city keeps
we have to stop trying to play both sides of the fence.
Exactly. It's too easy to do the right thing to be all that slick shit.
right, but the city does that. I mean, they get 10 million for one thing, put 500 in one pocket, the original pocket, and then
No, they
spread
getting
all the
caught up
rest out in the other pocket.
Is
Yeah.
McGarvey? Is McGarvey? I'm sorry, guys. Is McGarvey next, or is it me? I'm just trying to get ready.
I still have a question, so
It was
I
you,
can't
Marcel.
wait.
You went before me.
Oh, Miss
You're next, Marcel. I think.
can I finish my question? Because I had another
Yes,
question
Carmen.
besides the credit card thing. Okay. So on my state case, the one that Florida is having against me, I requested a Zoom call to deal with the warrant, and I got denied. So I thought about how can I get this resolved, and I figure I would just go ahead and ask for a Zoom FRERETA inquiry hearing and see if that will resolve getting the public defenders off the case since the judge put them back, and seeing if I can then bring my notice and my motions to to make them see that they are misidentifying me, that I'm in my private capacity, because otherwise they're not listening to me. So is that a good strategy to have?
I don't think to waive counsel takes an elaborate procedure, but I'm open for correction from the team.
Because that's the only way right now that I
Are you asking them questions?
No, I'm not asking them any questions right now.
Okay, so
all
then
I'm
how are
doing
you
is
gonna
asking them for a hearing.
If you're not asking them any questions, what compels them to respond?
Because, well, the question is, or maybe it's not a question.
It might be a question, but you just said you're not asking any. So I'm asking how, if you're not asking any questions, what is commanding a response?
Because I put it in as a motion.
You put questions in there?
What I put in there is requesting for a hearing. And I gave them the reasons why I'm doing it. And again, this is being done via Zoom, and the judge can probably say no, because she probably wants me to go in there in person, which I won't, because she will go ahead and arrest me again.
I don't think waiver of counsel is discretionary like that. But I'm open for correction. I think a waiver of counsel is simply you saying
ain't no waiver of counsel. Isn't it a so-called criminal offense?
It is.
What?
Okay, ain't no waiving of counsel. There ain't
no.
no.
Hold, time out. She used a specific, and you're right, Malika. Let me say that first. Malika's completely right. There is no waiver of counsel. However, procedurally speaking, right? It seems like from what I'm reading on certain some of these things, it seems like the waiver of assistance of counsel is, and that's what I should have said. I should have said waiver of assistance of counsel.
Can you pull up something on Ferretta hearing, please? 7.
Of course I can. I got you. Yeah. I was just saying that I don't think that God, I lost my train of thought, but I got you. I got you. Let's do that. Let's do that. What was the last thing I was saying though, real quick? I really wanted to land my plane on that. What was the last thing I said, y'all? If anyone's listening. When is the court obligated
but
to hold a
I lost it just like you did. So
you were saying you wanted to start off by saying Malika was right, and then
she was saying that she
waiver
about waiving assistance of counsel.
Yeah, waiving assistance of like waiving court appointed. Let me just be specific and let me correct myself. So
I don't know if what we're looking for is when is a court obligated. Like, who is a Ferretta hearing for? Is it for somebody who's already qualified to be sued?
Sounds like it's only for people who can actually be made a party.
That's my question. Is if is a Ferretta hearing for somebody who is
that it applies
properly
to,
situated as a party?
Exactly, that it applies to.
If I can share, when I was in jail and I was going through the Thomas West law in Georgia, in order to proceed pro se, you had to have a Ferretta hearing, and if you don't have a Ferretta hearing, you cannot proceed pro se.
I love the fact that there's something required in order to proceed. So let's talk about the prerequisites of proceeding. How did I become a party?
Probably by misclassification.
I don't want to hear probably. I need absolute admissible evidence, or else they can all suck a D. You guys are still missing the prerequisite points. And I'm not sure what we have to do about it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they really need to understand capacity. Like, what does that mean, right? What does that mean? All of the courts all they're doing is adjudicating rights. Capacity goes to the right to sue
be sued.
To sue and be sued. That's it. So if there's no right, what are you doing in there? What are they doing?
And automatically write in the caption. Automatically write in the caption of the case if they're.
Hey, Malika, I'm not interrupting, but on this very issue, as you're talking about capacity, someone recently that I assisted with a debt collection activity, right? I did a notice to the court and just a letter to the attorney. And it so happened that the lady, she never went to court. Not even the attorney turned up.
Wow.
So and it's really talking about the capacity here that even Self just mentioned.
It's the same thing, and I feel like I want to faint sometimes. You guys
She
act
never
like this
went.
shit is like so hard. So, we
And
have to get away from this need to fight. I'm just here to collect wins, and too many people want to fight. I don't understand. I would never ask for I would never ask for a hearing because at a hearing because I don't want nothing to be heard.
You have to be subject to it to qualify for that. That's what they're giving it to you.
So then why would I
The
demand a
Faretta
Faretta
hearing
hearing?
is so that they can remove the
No, that's not what a
the
Faretta hearing is
attorney.
for.
That's
not what
why
it's
I'm
for.
doing it, because otherwise they're
No.
not listening to anything that I'm
But
putting.
you're
Are
not asking
you
any
listening?
questions.
She's not listening.
You're not
No.
listening.
Yeah.
For
And
them
that
to put your name in the
usually
caption in the first place, for them to put your name in the caption in the first place, they had to come to a determination of who you are. So that should be the very
But I
first
was
thing.
arrested.
Why am I in that caption? How did you come to the determination that I am in the caption that you say that?
How did you prove it? Not
I
how
get
did you
all
come to
that, guys,
determination?
but when
How
you're
did you prove it?
arrested, you have to do something.
Right.
And I did. I put the notice to the court eventually in after I had shown up, which was a mistake of mine. However, none of the stuff that I put in, the notice to the court, the motion to strike, is not being heard because there's a public defender and 3 other attorneys that
what
were
makes
put
you
on my
think it's
case.
not being
Okay,
heard?
so hold on a second. Hold on. Did you judicial complaint anybody yet?
Yes.
Okay. Did you bar grievance the assigned attorney to you and others?
Yes, and they removed themselves because of it.
Great. So
that's
Did you do a writ of
been
mandamus?
good, but they put the public
did
the
you
last
do a
order was putting the public defender back on.
The message isn't you have to do something, because it almost comes off as if like when people are robbing you, and to stop them from robbing you, just come with lunch money for them so they won't rob you, and hide your other money in your sock. That's not the message that I think we should be communicating.
That's not I hope that's not what we're communicating.
Yeah. So
if you just said that the first got appointed public pretender got a bar grievance and left, they assigned another one. Did you bar grievance the next one?
Yes, I sent bar grievances on all the attorneys that they put on. But the Florida bar said that they did nothing wrong, but they still went ahead and removed themselves.
Right. So did you do it to the next one that showed up?
Yes, I did.
Great.
The only thing is that whoever the public pretender is right now, I don't know who they are. There's not a name. They haven't put anything on the record that is viewable to me as on the public side.
Okay, so you don't
if they've
actually
done
even
anything.
know if another public pretender is assigned.
There is. The order says that the public defenders will be back on.
Okay, so but you're saying you can't see who they are.
Correct.
So that means that there's nobody there.
Correct.
You said will be, not that they are.
Threat.
Exactly.
Well,
So
they are, because that's what the order said.
You're
the order
making
said
shit
that
up,
they should have
Carmen.
never been removed.
Carmen, you're making shit up. The order said there will be somebody assigned, and there has not been anybody assigned.
The order said that the public defender should have never been removed.
So what? But now there's no public defender that you could see.
There's no public defender that I didn't see the other public
so then there is
defender
no
before.
there is no public defender on there then.
But what God do you serve?
So it's like an invisible win.
That's a real question. Then
That's
what
not invisible.
God do you
That's
serve?
not invisible. That's real.
Then what God do you serve? Because you have faith. You have faith. You have faith in that document more than
but you see how
God
she's saying they're
serve.
not listening, but yet shit is happening. 2 public pretenders have been removed and shit. She's saying nobody's listening. Somebody listening to some shit.
They're listening to that part, but they're not removing the warrant. which is what I want to happen.
Are you calling us from jail right now? Are you on this call from jail right now?
No, thank God for that.
Oh, okay.
Good.
That's what everybody be
Did
worried
you
about. Those
did you do
warrants
a
coming
writ of
out.
mandamus?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, there you go. Put a writ of mandamus to get that warrant
According to the
resolved.
Florida rules of doing a mandamus.
And
No?
plus, and make sure. Did you was there a demand, or is a demand necessary? A demand is necessary for a mandamus.
Hold on,
Did you?
you're in federal now, though, right?
No,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
because the
Good.
federal had that's been denied, and I have my 59E that I sent in already, but the judge has there's no discretion. They can have up to 90 days if they want to look at this stuff.
That means that is discretion.
So they have all that time to look at
the
it.
mandamus is for the lower court to dismiss the case or quash the warrant.
Correct.
Did you put in a demand for them to do it? Is that demand included in your any communication to the court?
No, because I haven't put in the mandamus yet.
You're not listening.
In the judicial notice.
Did you do a motion to quash?
I don't have to be a motion to quash. Is there any demand in any document that you've already filed for the warrant to be quashed and or the motion the case to be itself dismissed?
Yes, that's been
so
on
now
the
in your
motion to quash.
mandamus, you now get to reference that there was a demand and the court has neglected to do their ministerial duty. So go ahead and get on it.
So this is where I want to add to Malika's wisdom, and I trust that this helps us develop a better way of presenting what we're feeling as we're going through it. What I'm seeing that's being missed is that, Carmen, you have a record. And the whole purpose of anybody being in this space, and if I was to share anything with someone's first time here at Newbie Tuesday, I'll be like, even though you hear that lady maybe sounding like she's a little upset, she doesn't recognize that she has a gold mine in her hands. She has a record that as she goes higher with that record, I don't think there's going to be any court that's going to go, well, you didn't do this. So, we're going to, no, you got a record. So every time they either do something you like or don't like, you have a record. Preserve it so that you can get what you want eventually as you ascend higher to get your remedy. So they're ignoring it. They're giving you your gold mine. I yield.
Awesome. Gratitude. Go ahead, Marcel.
I'm gonna try to. Sorry, guys. They got me in this audits last 2 weeks, so I was trying to wait for the newbie to the end, and I was like, "Oh Lord, I'm out of." All right, so let me just. So two things. Hopefully, I can run through this in 5 minutes. I'm definitely gonna try to get on early Thursday, Roy. Oh shoot, I'm showing the wrong thing. This is pertaining to this driver's license. I was trying to do, I filed a petition with the court, blah, 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 about the driver's license. I presented this to you guys last time, and the late Collins said, please be advised, you may not lawfully attempt to drive vehicle in Maryland on any of the roads, etc. So then met with you guys, sent correspondence back, and then this came in yesterday. It said, if I understand your correspondence October 10th correctly, you object. Can y'all see what I'm looking at?
Yes.
Oh, you're sharing screen? Hold on, my bad. Let me stop.
Seeing.
Okay, cool.
You object to motor vehicle administration issuance of a commercial driver's license, which I didn't say that, CDL, to you on April 8th, 2021. Please be advised that the license issued to you by MVA on April 8th, 2021 is a non-commercial Class C license and not a CDL. The MVA has no record of issuing you a CDL at this time. So they try to play because that's not at all what I said. So, but I listened to you and Malika, last time saying we got to get better at actually asking questions. Like, well, what's the question? Like, what did you put all this stuff in there and noticing them, but what did you ask them that they didn't address? And I'm like, bet.
So this is my response now. It's all the regular stuff at the top. Can y'all see this?
Yes.
And then I just got to the
When you
question.
say this, we're seeing if I understand your correspondence of
Section
October
3.
10th. That's what we're seeing.
Okay.
See
No.
what you had before.
No, we still looking at the NBA letter.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It's 2. I want 2.
I just breathed this thing in my mind and
So, and
Okay.
so this section is the questions. It says, so these are the questions I asked. Is the term driver or motor vehicle operator in Maryland law applicable to a private man transporting no one or nothing for hire? Does any statute lawfully compel a man to surrender his constitutional right for free movement in exchange for a state issued license? Where in the statutes at large or Maryland Constitution is it stated that the right to travel on public roadways is dependent on a license, class, or issuance? Is there judicial precedence or legislative enactment that permits the automatic assumption of commercial activity absent clear and voluntary consent? What is the legal distinction between non-commercial license and the inalienable right to travel protected under the U.S. Constitution? So these are some of the questions I have here. And then the specific ones, I'd have the bottles, but I have this specific, because I'm basically letting them know I'm ready to follow tort. I'm kind of sick of you guys, but where is it? I
How
have
many
one.
pages is this?
It's 5, but it's mostly
Okay, so let's go back to the question that the Assistant Attorney General asked about
oh
if
yeah,
I comprehend your correspondence correctly,
correct.
you are saying or requesting or objecting to
CDL.
blah blah blah. We
Yeah.
have to go back to that and make sure we clarify what we actually are saying if that's not what we're saying.
Right.
And what may be what's happening is some of us are making great strong punches, if you will, but they're not connecting with the subject
You were telling me,
because
and
of how we are presenting it. We don't want to bombard them with just a bunch of random or seemingly random definitions and statements. We have to go back to that exercise that we did in Florida for that judge that we reported for judicial disability, incompetence, or criminal conspiracy with the other party. And what I mean by that is, some of y'all remember that exercise. We actually quoted what the judge said. The equivalent of this would be quoting exactly what it says in the charging instrument, where they might say something like the undersigned officer observed the operator of a motor vehicle on a public highway or something to that effect. Then we talk about what that statement is actually alleging, and if the prerequisite for that was proven somehow, somewhere by admissible evidence. So, for example, in your situation, they're attempting to affect a license in one area for an alleged act or omission in another area. Is that correct? So,
correct. And I went
what
out
we
of
need to be talking about is how an alleged act or omission in over here can lawfully or legally affect the other one over there. Are they following proper procedure for that? Or are they reaching? Or are they acting ultra virus to what they're supposed to be doing? So perhaps we won't need to get into the definition of lawfully if that's not on the citation, or it's not something controlling to when you can be punished over here for acts for in this capacity for acts done in this other capacity.
Okay. All right,
So Marcel, what primary and secondary sources are you using to assist you with this?
I used the federal guides. I had like 4. I took the entire federal layout for. I can show you.
For some Maryland stuff? For a Maryland specific thing?
Yeah, Maryland. I looked at all of Maryland's code for driving. Then I looked at the federal, all the definitions
Yeah, but
defined.
they're not coming after you for an actual driving offense. Is that not right? They're not suspending your driving license for a driving offense. Is that correct?
Right. No offense. I just
Exactly. And so
didn't. I didn't.
that is the foundational point to hammer. You're trying to affect so-called driving privileges for an offense that was done someplace else. And I don't know about you, whether or not you did it, but I've not seen in my own research anything that, and I could be wrong, and that's the purpose of researching further. Always, can they do that? Is the question. So
Okay.
when I see your closing declarations where I do not consent to classification of commercial, I do not drive, I'm not a driver, like that's not actually relevant to the argument that you, at least in my opinion, based on what I'm hearing, maybe I'm wrong. That's not an argument relevant. Those points are not relevant to your argument.
That's why I asked the question I asked.
Okay. So I'm gonna come on early Thursday because I've had these audits and I've been missing them. So I'll come in on Thursday only because I have another call. I was trying to kind of wait to the end, but I
Yeah,
was
you
looking at
did.
time.
Somebody just volunteered for you to go before them.
Yeah, I know.
Let me ask you real
Okay.
quick, Marcel. Did you
Yes, sir.
have you looked back at the enactment of the motor vehicle code or motor vehicle act that Maryland has? Like, have you went to that to how it was established that agency?
The enactment? No, I'm gonna write that
The
down.
other thing I want to point out and pick apart while you're looking for that, a class C, funny enough, when you read that section, that attorney is dumb. Oh, we didn't give you a CDL. That's not the only limitation to,
Right.
that's not the only definition of commercial,
At
stupid.
all. And I got that in there. I just didn't. I wanted to take. I was like, I'm rushing a day, so I'm gonna
It's
take
just
my time.
irrelevant though. Whether or not they gave you a commercial or a CDL or whatever is irrelevant to the argument of being punished for one capacity for accident emissions in another.
Yeah, they were trying to make me pay the fees. I'm like, I don't want this. Listen, and so that's what the correspondence been. It's like, well, no, now it's suspended, and now it's, and I'm like, I haven't even gone anywhere. I just been Ubering everywhere. But I'm like, all right, I got to figure out a way because I was putting in a petition with the court, but that was a whole separate issue. And then this started, and they were like, well, just pay this, pay that fine, and that'll be fine, and you'll be good to go back on the road.
That's extortion.
Like, do
Shut
you hear
up.
what
Get to
I'm
drive
telling
without
you?
license.
Yeah. So,
Well, I
um,
don't I agree. I agree with what the attorney said about the part. Never drive on a public highway without a license, okay, guys? Never
Right.
drive on a public highway without a license. Malika, on the other hand, who takes herself all over the place on
right.
God's highways, um, all willy nilly, all
Right.
time.
And I was like,
Okay,
I don't drive on your highways.
I surely don't. I don't drive on
I'm
public
saying
highways.
loved ones. I don't know what you talking about. I'm not doing any driving.
Well,
So
they haven't proved it yet.
yeah.
Again, they got to have
So
that admissible evidence. When
That's
they're
right.
alleging to have observed a driver operating a motor vehicle on a public highway, you have to hold them to the prerequisites of that statement, those
Yeah.
terms in that statement. They
okay.
have
The
to show the
state.
elements. And you
All
can
Yeah.
right.
destroy a case
I don't want any more
just
than
from
nuggets.
saying that.
I'm coming first thing Thursday. I'm gonna just come on Thursday.
Okay.
I'm gonna let
All right,
Mugabe have it.
bro.
And
Mugabe, thank you so
and
much, bro.
So let's take
Thank
let's
you,
take the last one, guys.
Hey,
To make
for
in
those
this
people.
state.
Marcel, I want to just say this for Marcel. Hey, Marcel, I posted on Lawful Living. You look under my profile. I actually posted questions to the Department of Transportation. They replied, so you can see what they replied to and what I asked. So if you want to,
I'm gonna call you at the class, bro. And I don't know. I don't have to say nothing else after I said that.
All right.
Can you guys
Seems
see
like
this?
a stipulated fact we weren't in a vehicle. Yeah, that's what they're punishing him for is what's relevant. If you're punishing me for example, a no call, no show, I'm not sure if the law allows you to take away my driver license. I'm just saying. And
Do you see this, Malika?
they may
Though
not be at liberty to just decide to do that. So that's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's move on. Go ahead, McGarvey. Thank you, Observe, Eldon.
Indeed.
Can I share my screen, please?
Of course you can. Let me stop.
Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I went to a Nissan dealer the other day, and I could just kind of go through this because it kind of details everything. The plaintiff seeks equitable and declaratory injunctive relief for the redress of unfair trade practices by Nissan Marietta LLC. Here in Nissan, over the car that I was trying to get, the stock number and the VIN number here and after Armada. Nissan employee required that I provide a social security number and driver's license to retrieve, which I had built on the manufacturer's website, which they had already confirmed was mine. There is no such applicable law or provision that requires me to do so in order to receive what is duly mine. The CFR clearly outlines who can be assigned an SSN, and I put the footnotes at the bottom here, which would be unlawful for me to posture as one who qualifies for one. The OCGA outlines who is required to have a license, and the DDS also says officially that the SSN is required for the driver's license. Now, I kept on asking like a Gemini about the specific code section, but I couldn't find it. But on the DDS website, it says that the social security number is required. I clearly communicated to all personnel at Nissan that I did not intend to use the vehicle to drive. I put the reference to drive, and I did not have a driver's license for the reasons aforementioned. Um, Everything else, although I communicated that I had no interest in registering my Armada or using it for commerce, unfortunately, I was nevertheless turned away from my Armada and told to leave and seek other means to retrieve it. Nissan is in the jurisdiction of the court, and OCG outlines any person so injured because he or she refuses to accede to a proposal for an arrangement, which, if consummated, would be in violation of this article, may bring an action. Um, uh, for damages and equitable relief. So that's like the basis of what, and that was like the 10-1-623. It talks about a dealer, owner, or other party, if he has not suffered any loss or money, may obtain equitable relief if it could show um, and I also talked about I am a private man and I had absolutely no intentions of giving a security interest in my Armada, nor being or acting as a buyer or retail buyer. And I also put the references to the code sections of buyer and retail buyer. Nissan, which is a seller of retail installment contracts for commercial vehicles or motor vehicles, clearly tried to coerce me into a transaction. I don't know if seemingly is a good word, seemingly to acquire security interest in my Armada, which I had no intention or desire to give them. Wherefore, the plaintiff prays for judgment against the defendant as follows: facilitate delivery or pickup of my Armada, maintain a record of service maintenance for parts and labor for 1,000,000 miles, roadside assistance for 1,000,000 miles, and any other relief, whatever. And I swear under penalty of perjury. There was another section that talks about
Let me
how
ask
that.
you a question. What
Yes, ma'am.
entitles you to this type of relief?
What entitles me to this type of relief?
Yes.
Sheesh. Because I'm a private man.
Really?
I don't know the right answer. I don't really know.
Oh, you don't know the right answer. Don't you think that's don't you know that that's one of the requirements to articulate?
Scroll back up to the top, please.
At the very top?
Yes.
Okay. And I was like following the as above, so below class, so I kind of like pieced it all together and like what I learned or what I was
I want to
going through.
commend you on that. I'm laughing because I like it, but you got some deficiencies.
Okay.
Like not knowing what entitles you to the relief you're requesting. What is exactly the relief you request? It says equitable relief of unfair. I'm not sure what that is. Equitable relief of unfair trade practices in violation of OGC. Now that you see what's at the top self, what is your next question or comment?
That's what I was wondering. What was the cause for? But he has underneath there seeks equitable declaratory and injunctive relief for redress of unfair trade practices. But it has to be like you have to see what the causes require, and then plead within those causes. Like as is, it's just talking, right?
This was
No, yeah, I get it. Like I
Mhm.
get that part, but that doesn't go with the causes.
You
Right?
got
Like
all the ingredients, no recipe though is being shown.
yeah, you're
Okay.
putting the facts there and what the issue is, but you're not putting what the causes require. So like with declaratory leak, there has to be a controversy. And it has to be said, you have to say what the controversy is,
Yeah.
what rights you believe you're entitled to, and what duties you believe that the other party is required to perform. Right? I don't know if you was there last week, but I'm saying everything is about rights and duties. So if somebody is claiming that they got a right to some type of performance, which the other party has a duty or obligation to perform, and that's not what's outlined here, right? So,
No, not just to equitable relief, but
no, because declaratory relief is equitable in nature, so that's like redundant.
Correct.
the no, wait.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so the way that it's articulated is you're saying, uh, someone did something. Okay, someone did something. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter what it is, whatever they did. Okay, you you have to start with their duty, what their duty is. They're supposed to be giving cars to everybody that walks in the door. I'm just making this up, obviously. Um,
And
as
you
soon
have
as
a right
somebody
to
walk,
something,
huh?
and he has a right to something. So I have a
Yes,
right to something, and they have a duty to
to
perform
give.
that.
Yep, that's what you have to be able to articulate. You have a right to something. They have a duty to perform something. So let's say their job is just to give a car to everybody who walks into the door. You walk in the door and you were like, "Hey, give me a car," and they were like, "Nah, we don't like your shoes." And then you get to say the law that they're operating under to give cars to everybody that walk in the door does not allow them to discriminate over who they give cars to based on the fact that they don't like their shoes. Does everybody understand my horrible example?
No, it's not horrible.
They have a duty to give cars to everybody that walks in the door. You walk in the
Dash.
door and say, "Give me a car," and they say, "Nah, we don't like your shoes." Then you come back and say, according to the law that granted them the privilege of giving cars to everybody that walks into the door, they don't get to discriminate based on shoes, yet they did.
National origin.
So now I don't have my car to wear my clown shoes in, my clown car to wear my clown shoes in and my clown uniform, and I'm losing out on jobs or whatever. That's how you have to be able to articulate it.
Yeah, you're only selling cars to U.S. citizens, and I'm just an American.
So I would have to first understand the duty of Nissan, like how they have a duty to me and how they're in breach of that duty, and then refer to
You have to know what rights you're claiming to be entitled to, for which they have a duty or obligation to perform under.
An
Should you see
example.
their
An
charter?
example. Hold on. Let me give an example of what Bro Ansis just said. So let's say you want to go to a courthouse and go to the clerk's office and you want a certified document. And the clerk says, nah, I ain't giving you that because whatever reason, I'm not giving it to you. You leave, you go and read the duties of the clerk from the statutes, the courts, courts and court proceedings. You're reading and you're like, oh, well, these are the duties of the clerk. And now that you read that, now you go back in an intelligent tone and ask again. But this time when you ask, I was here yesterday to get X, Y, and Z, whatever the document is. But I see that I was told, I was, the reply I got was, I can't get it for these reasons. However, I see that the duties of the clerk are this. So if I'm missing something here out of these duties that I see for the clerk, may you please provide me whatever you're using to deny me access to what I'm asking for? Because it seems like you're just the records keeper who's supposed to be giving me what I'm asking for, but I don't want to disrespect your office. So may I have what? And then they'll probably 9 times out of 10 just shut up and give you what you were there for yesterday. But the point I'm making is that you have the right to make a record and keep a record. That's why you went there. However, the duty that they owed you in making sure that that right is secured, they were supposed to fulfill the duty of the clerk. When they didn't do that, now you have a claim.
When they didn't do that by denying your recording, because you have to say what happened.
Correct.
And show that they had the duty to do it.
Correct. Which is outlined in the statutes. Well, the duties of the clerk is this. And since they didn't do this, then there's a breach of duty. by this, by by refusing to give me the documents. They acted, you know,
they derelicted their duty.
correct.
So
They're in
I'm
breach
saying,
of it.
Yeah, they acted in breach of their duty. Correct.
so I'm saying I would have to say that I went to go acquire the Armada, and
No,
I
you have
went
to say
about,
you have a right to acquire
okay,
the Armada or buy it at this wherever or where you have a right
You have the
to the
right
vehicle.
to acquire a vehicle without being coerced into a third party relationship with the government or becoming some special or commodified. You have the right to not be have your right to locomotion or your right to access property to be commodified or something to that effect. You have to say what right.
And just
and then
reading what
attach
you
their duty to that right, or the
well
duty's already attached to the right.
right it's already attached. Every right has a corresponding duty and vice versa, but it has to be expressed, like it has to be certain. So
You
like
have to
what I
know
would
it.
be doing, you had a lot up there about what you're entitled to and what they're supposed to do, but and what they required you to do. So my thing would be first to find out what are you basing that on? Like you're saying I have to have this and I'm have to have that. What are you basing that on? What does that come from? Like what and because they're making a determination, right? So what are you basing that determination on? And they come with a statute or whatever, or code or whatever. Well, what are you basing that on that applies to me in the capacity that I'm buying this car, right? So get them to explain what they're doing and show uh, where their determination is coming from, and then you're using them, not you're using them in what they're claiming as opposed to you making up what you believe they're claiming, right? Because you don't know why they're saying you have it. They may think you don't know
Yeah,
why
but
they
you
made
can
the
look
determination.
at their duties that might say give a card to everybody, and if it doesn't say in their duties to give a card to everybody, there's no qualification of saying or only people who can give you blah blah blah. You point to that.
Right. So this outline, deter, find why they're saying what they're saying so that you understand where it applies or it doesn't apply, and then you can form your complaint or your causes better, more clearer. But everything's going to be a right and a duty. So what is their duty? What is your rights?
Which you should just, because I only went there one day, and then he told me, that I had to give the social and the license, and I was just like, all right, I'm
That's
just,
great, but did you ask for or did they provide when they made that request the foundation of that request?
Right. What are you basing that on? Why do you say that I have to do that? Based
Do
on what?
they in writing? Did they provide it in writing?
I asked him to provide it in writing, and he told me that I would have to take it up with the attorneys of the dealership. That's what he told me.
That's fine. Okay, give me their names. Then you put it in writing with them. But even if you having a conversation right there, right? I'm gonna write this down right in front of you, or you want to sign off on this, right? But just it's best to have it in writing. And I would, if that's the case, I definitely wouldn't have a problem writing it, putting anything right into the attorneys. And at the suggestion or advice of the general manager, I'm contacting you, attorney, to find out the following, right? He said that this, he said this, and he said that. So I need to understand what's this based upon and how you arrive at the determination that this applies to me or not, right? But like dig out the facts, have them supply you with the information.
Okay,
That
cool.
makes sense.
Yeah, okay, cool. And so if I did see, because I looked up the registered agent, I tried to contact them. I don't
Don't
know if
look up the registered agent. The same agent or another agent in the office, just tell them, "Hey, I was there speaking to Robert, and he told me to contact the attorneys of the dealership, and I'm just trying to get that information so I can contact them."
I got you.
It's not hidden, and you don't have to do your own separate investigation. Just ask. If not the direct man or woman that told you to contact them, call the same dealership back and let them know that you love the information to contact them. And this is why my uh basically the similar situation is taking as long as it is because y'all saw when they told me that about contacting the attorney for the car dealership, I did. Y'all saw the conversation with the Better Business Bureau. At least some of y'all saw the conversation I had with the Better Business Bureau. I'm not in a rush. I'm making the same argument, except I know to point out that what the duties and obligations of the dealership is, and the fact that they can't provide any documentary evidence that says that they can discriminate according to this capacity, or that they can force or require anybody to have that capacity. I'm saying the same things. They asked me to send them my driver license. I responded to them that I have no intent of acquiring a vehicle under the capacity that requires driver's license, so I'm not giving you that. Straight up told them. And they tried to make it seem like they could require that of me, and then they couldn't produce any documentary evidence that they couldn't require it of me or anybody.
So what happens when you don't get a response back?
You always get a response back. Why do you guys say that? A non-response is a response when there is a obligation to respond.
You usually don't get a response when you don't have a well-framed correspondence.
Yeah, I always get a response. Even the attorney, when we were going through the Better Business Bureau process, they responded until the Better Business Bureau closed the case.
I think I know for me and again I do this in hopes that you guys will take on the same. But like Kanye, we all self-conscious. I'm just the first to admit it. So it's like if improving, right, is what needs to be done, then I would let go of my torch and pitchfork and pick up a law
Lord, say it
library.
again. Because
Yeah,
so many people
yeah.
come ready with the pitchfork. And it's like, well, did you even let them know that they violated you? Well, no, but they should have known because Constitution, blah, 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 blah. Like that's never gonna
Hey,
work.
and Malika, that's the spirit I use with this document I'm telling you. It's the notice to the court was just a letter to the attorney to let them know of that
Word.
violation and that they should actually scrutinize their own acts and omission in relation to the matter.
Right. And the best thing I can't say this enough is understand what you're doing, right? Like we jump in these situations and then we're trying to figure it out after the fact. But no matter when you start figuring out, like make it a point to figure it out. What words are you using? And then when you're dealing with these people and they're making these crazy statements and stuff, or saying what you're supposed to have. Okay, I need to understand where does this come from? Like get them to give you the facts that you need so that you can
Exactly.
move how you need to move, right?
So
So
that's why you got to narrow them in a corner. I came in there to get the car, and the agent started requiring this and that of me, and could not
show me
provide
why
any
how it
documentary
applies to
evidence
me,
of how.
right?
So right now is just like, so this is basically like one giant assumption, all this, because I I did go and I asked
Exactly.
him and he wouldn't answer and he didn't give me in writing. So but I didn't reach out to the attorneys.
Right. So that's what he told you who you need to talk to, who they rely on. So call them. and
Okay, I'm
and,
gonna do
and
that.
definitely they'll have enough to straighten it out. So one way or the other, and that's when we're dealing with a lot of these things. That's who mostly they're gonna run to when you're challenging or you having certain questions, legal questions like that. Especially when they're saying, what you're supposed to have, and those are legal documents. Those are legal statements. So when you challenge it, they don't really know how to answer. Just they're parroting. So okay, give me who I need to talk to, and then get them to put that in writing. Tell me what I need to have
Yeah,
and where you get that
that's when they
from.
run. Asking that dealership to put the fact that my son is a taxpayer in writing is what made them write that fat ass check with a comment in it the very next day.
Exactly, because that's practice. That's practicing law. They're making legal determinations, and
Because
they know
I'm
nothing
sure
about
that
you.
the salesman went in there and was like, bro, she's gonna sue you. And even if she don't win, she's gonna tie your ass up for the whole amount of the car just because you didn't want to give a break on the taxes.
That we're liable for.
Because that's all I kept saying. out there like your son is a taxpayer. Impossible. You the taxpayer in this transaction.
That shit is
I really
wild.
appreciate that. Before I got on, I was like shaking. I was so anxious. I wanted to share, but I feel like
Yeah, come back on Friday. Come
okay.
back on Friday and I'll show you how I wrote my case.
Okay, it was part 4 of the As Above, So Below series. I literally copied the top part, the caption, because I think yours was like a house or something, and I was like, you said you would put the VIN number in it, so that's what I
Oh,
did.
I didn't show the car one in that one, huh?
No, there was
I
one for
just
the
showed the
car that was
false
like,
advertisement and I went after
yeah,
Lennar Homes. I don't even like that ugly house, but I was gonna sue him for false advertisement.
I did see that other one for the dealership, but I think it's what I heard you say, like, because you were talking to McReal about like basically not doing the pump and dump. So I was just like, I was trying to avoid the pump and dump, and I was just like,
I
okay, this is
got you. I'm gonna
yeah.
show
What
you
So
mine that I
what
wrote for the car dealership on Friday. I'll show y'all again.
what in Georgia about business torts did you look up?
I gotta go, guys. Peace.
um,
Peace.
Peace.
I didn't
Peace.
look up anything about business tours in Georgia.
See,
Okay.
and you're using it in your documents, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like you have to look these things up so you'll understand how they're employed and how they work. You know what I
So
mean? Stuff just because you see other people using stuff on documents or you see them on other documents doesn't mean that it applies to your situation.
right. So what I was thinking was that the dealership would be considered or be governed under the motor vehicle
I
franchise.
gave you a jewel.
I'm sorry, give it back to
Look
me.
up
Business
business
torts.
torts in
Okay.
Georgia.
Okay.
Let me I don't know, like,
I'm sorry, guys. I can't continue. I have
oh,
another
you
call
gotta
coming
go.
on this
Okay.
line. I
Yeah,
apologize. I
just
thought we
holler
were
at me,
on a
y'all.
different
Yeah,
line.
yeah. No, you
All
good.
right,
I know
guys.
you
Okay,
got
Peace.
sis.
session. Peace.